Greetings. This is Arvette McLean of Speak, the Universe Listens.
We cherish that. We love that particular piece of it because it
Teach people like, hey, it's okay. Change.
New ways to view age-old challenges. Change your thoughts, change your life. Step into the bigness of you.
Greetings, and welcome to today's episode of Speak, the Universe Listens. Today's topic is sacrifice necessary? Now, last week we talked a little bit about paradigms, and we described paradigms as being a set of beliefs, your habits, your rituals. It's kind of like the way things are done. And the thing about paradigms is paradigms are our belief system. But most of the times, it's so closely held to us that we don't even really realize that it's a belief. We think whatever we're thinking is the truth. And so this topic of is sacrifice necessary? The paradigm that most of us have grown up on is that in order to get the things that you want, you must sacrifice. And so what do you guys have to say about that?
I ask you first.
What? You can go first. All right. I would say just thinking about just my life in general and just my journey when it comes to sacrifice. I just think about the things that I had to give up in order for me to level up. And in order for me to level up, there was certain things that I didn't realize at the time was keeping me stagnant. And I would say some old friends that I used to have, we still are friends, but it's at a distance because of the simple fact where I moved myself up to in life. They weren't ready to go in that same direction.
So you had to sacrifice.
So I had to sacrifice, right? Do I still want to stay around people that is not going in the direction of where I wanted to go? You see what I'm saying? So I would say that's something that I did sacrifice. I sacrificed, man, what else I sacrificed?
So was those sacrifices a decision?
I want to say it was a little bit of both of it, to be honest with you, because I know that in order for me to get to where I wanted to go, a lot of people wasn't going to support me. You know, and my friends at the time, they probably wouldn't have supported me. So there was something that it was like, you know what, I can either sit back and still carry those individuals with me, but how far am I going to get to where I wanted to go? So that was something that I sacrificed.
I'm gonna jump in on that.
Right.
And I'm wondering if that's because of the mindset that you were in at that time. Because I know when I became aware that I wanted to make a change in my life, my immediate thinking was, if I go in the direction that I'm going in, that I'm wanting to go in, or that I'm feeling pulled to go into, am I going to sacrifice my husband, my best friend? Like, in my head, I was thinking I was going to have to give up everything in order to make this change. And I didn't want to give up everything, so that would have been a huge sacrifice to give up everything to make this change. But I felt pulled in that direction. And I remember telling my husband and my best friend, I was like, listen, I'm about to change. And so the me that you see, I don't know where she gonna be. And I just want you to know, no matter what it looks like, I just love you. I love you, I love you, I love you. And so that was me, I guess, in a sense, letting them go.
Yes.
However, in the process, as I changed, they changed. So they came along with me. And I think if I had just left, I would have been in the mindset of, okay, I got to sacrifice, and then I just acted on it, the sacrifice, versus me envisioning what did I want it to look like. I wanted them to come with me, even though in my head I thought I was going to have to sacrifice.
On that topic, for me, I feel like when I made a decision to start changing my life, to me, my mindset with my friends was, if they see me like this, they gonna want to do the same thing. You know, but I always been like kind of like a leader my whole life, so I always felt like whatever I do, people will follow. You know, so that's how I looked at it with my friends.
And now I look at it like that too. I think then my mindset was more, it was different, you know,
It
because
was a paradigm.
you
You
know,
thought it was truth.
yeah.
But you had to leave them to elevate.
I was just so much of a people pleaser at the time. I wanted everybody to, you know, be happy with me and so forth. And when I got to a point as to where it was like, you know what, I'm gonna give that up in order for me to level myself up, do what I feel that resonates with me, right? And you know, my parents, they didn't. I remember I was telling you guys before, I took a whole year off from everybody. I took a break from family, from friends. People were worried about me. But I did it because of the simple fact of I was going through change. So since I was going through change, I was sacrificing something that I knew within myself that I wanted to change. And then also people only recognize me as, you know, just Stephen, just doing whatever, just, you know, just people pleasing, just getting rid of that. So I would say that sacrifice was something, it was good for me, I think, in a way, because I realized that I didn't need no validation from nobody. I was like, okay, all right, it's cool. In a way, it was scary, but at the end, down the road, I realized that, you know what, some things that you sacrifice are for the better, for you, you know, betterment for you. And what you were saying with your friends, you want to be that leader and be that role model for them. And for me, at the time frame, my mindset was just more of, I was more following instead of being being the leader at the time.
To answer the question for me, I feel like that's a mindset thing that majority of us have, that, hey, if we have this, we can also have this. So we think, well, we gotta sacrifice this to get what we want. But in reality, who say you can't have both? Who says?
Yeah, very true.
You know,
very true.
so I don't necessarily believe in sacrificing things that I value, because we looked up the definition of sacrifice is giving up something you value for something you value more. Right. So I don't believe in giving up. Like, I don't believe that I have to give up this thing to achieve this.
Right. So, and I agree, it's a mindset. So the paradigm is you have to sacrifice for the things you want, you got to work hard for the things you want, etc. So that's the paradigm that we have grown up in. And I think that you can, like the examples that Stephen was giving, like, you can have things that you sacrifice in order to get what you want. Like, you can sacrifice and you can get what you want.
Like, that
but,
works too.
Right,
Yeah.
it works.
Uh-huh.
That paradigm works. But does it have to be that way? And so Rodney gave a good example of kind of like almost the same thing that Stephen was saying. I got this group of friends. They not where I'm trying to go. So one looks at it like, well, I got to sacrifice them, and the other looks at it like, I think they about to come along with me. It's going to be better for all of us. And so it's like a shift in your mindset of you're doing the same thing. You're both elevating.
Right.
But how are you viewing how you're elevating?
The perspective.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
But see, also what I think is most of us come from a scarce mentality. Like, we can't have everything we want. Like, you know, we see stuff and don't think it's believable for us to have it. So we feel like, I think that goes into feeling like we got to give something up to get another thing. When in reality, we can have anything we want.
Yeah. So I know when I used to work all the time,
All the time.
around the clock,
Right.
and I sacrificed everything. Like, you know, all of my relationships. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have any fun. I didn't know my family. Just nothing. All I did was work, and I sacrificed because I wanted to provide an environment, because I was working with children, and I wanted to provide the most quality environment for them that I possibly could, and I guess offer them goodness into their lives. But when I kind of started changing my perspective on things, I'm able to actually reach more people now, doing the things that I love and having fun every day and building relationships. I'm affecting way more people than I was, and I'm still affecting those same kids. And you know, I was just with one today, and they're just telling me like, "Oh my gosh, how much you inspired me." So in the very, I thought I had to do it one way, but I didn't.
And for the listeners, if y'all haven't got it yet, everything goes back to changing your thinking. So your mindset was that I gotta to get, you know, but it's really, if you change your thinking, you can do more. Yeah. So it's like you wasn't making, you thought you was making the best environment for the kids, but really it was about you. It was about you having to change your thinking.
Yeah, and it was a powerful shift because, like during that time, I used to pray all the time, and I'd just be like, God, you know, God, please. I just believe spiritually I was not okay, and I'm just like, please send somebody to tell me something. I need somebody to tell me something. Something has got to give. I can't keep living my life that way. And no matter how much I prayed that prayer, nothing ever happened. And then I remember hearing someone sing this song, Lord, make me a channel of your love, make me a channel of your peace. And so I was just like thinking about that. Okay, if I'm a channel of God's love and of God's peace, then I have an abundant flow. It's not just that limited amount that I was handing out to my kids, thinking I was giving them all of this, but really I was just handing it out from this limited human person, and I was contracting my whole self in the process. But when I started saying a different prayer, make me a channel of your love, make me a channel of your peace, it caused me to open up and to expand and just to be on a whole journey of continued expansion.
I could say, just thinking about what you were saying earlier about you don't have to give up, you know, you can have them both. And just thinking about my life, I had situations where I managed to have both, you know. I wanted to have the job that I have now, which is basically working for myself, but I also wanted to give back to others, help others. But then again, you know, my mindset was like, well, dang, you know, I sacrifice my friends, you know what I'm saying? So it's just me. But I'm able to still tag along, help my friends now, get them to level up. And what you were saying about actions, now where I'm at mentally, that's my mindset now. You know, I'd rather sit back and show somebody, hey, through action, you can have everything. And anything that you want, you can have it. What you sacrifice, I would say, audience, is all up to you. What you see, or what you think that you may have to sacrifice. If it's anything at all, to be honest, you might not need to sacrifice nothing. If anything, you might need to add on something else to your regimen of thinking.
A lot of people think, when they think of sacrifice, they
Yeah.
think it's, I'm removing something bad in my life to get something good.
Mm-hmm.
But really, if you vibrating high and your energy is high, the bad thing's going to remove itself. It's going to remove itself from your life. So you don't have to necessarily sacrifice. It's not necessarily sacrificing
Yeah.
something.
And look at it like you think sacrifice is like, Lord, no, I got to give. I got to give up something.
Right.
And I think most of the times when we think of, maybe because I'm female, even I don't have any biological children, I think most of the times when people, females anyway, think of sacrifice, they think in terms of, I have to sacrifice to make sure my children have their needs met. I can't, travel the world because I got to take care of my babies or whatever.
Right.
So you make the sacrifice. And so it's really just a matter of shifting your perspective, because as we've been saying, you really can have whatever you want, but a lot of times our wanting is too small.
Right.
We don't believe that we can have these things, and so we think we can't have this and that. We think we can't raise our kids and make sure they have all the love and joy and happiness in their life, and for us to have the things that we want in life too. But when you start shifting that perspective to, I think Scott had said it a couple of sessions ago. He said something to the effect of, if God asked you, what do you want?
Yeah, exactly.
I will give you whatever you want. What would you say? Because I think someone asked the person, like, what kind of car do you want? And the person
Right.
might have been like, oh, I want a little Prius or whatever.
Yeah,
and they're like,
right.
no.
What you want?
What do you want? And so I think kind of like what Rodney was alluding to, our asking is too small, and we don't believe that the things that we want are even possible for us.
Right, because we only can see what we think is obtainable.
Right.
Mhm.
And it's so interesting that you say that, because I'm a person who most of my life, I always felt like whatever I put my mind to, I
Right.
could do. But what I realized a couple of years ago is I was only putting my mind to things that I thought I could do.
I like it.
And so when you take those shackles off, like anything is possible.
Right.
Start putting your mind on the anything, on the more, versus the only what you think you can do.
See, with that mindset, just growing, mentally, I noticed I broke out of that mindset as to where thinking small, and I started thinking bigger. And I'm like, okay, because at one time it was a struggle trying to, when I started to get aware of, my thoughts create my reality. I was like, well, since I know this, why am I still thinking so daggone small, Let me start stepping my game up a little bit and asking for more. And when it started coming, it was like, okay, all right. And I started asking for more and more and more. And it just started coming in spurts. It's a little scary at first because it's like, dang, it's overwhelming. You feel overwhelmed, but then it's like, I asked for this.
And you start believing you can have those things.
Exactly.
And I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, a lot of times we don't think we can have because we want to know how. Like how.
Yeah,
right.
Like even us having this conversation about sacrificing, I'm sure there are people sitting on the other side saying, okay, well tell me how I can make this and this work. Well, honestly, I might not know the answer to that. But what I always say is God has at least a million ways that thing can happen. And so if you think about the mind of the infinite, like we're thinking about our own brains, and now, mind you, our brains are incredible. But the mind of the infinite, what's possible?
I used to struggle with that. Like, I feel I can get these things, but how I'm gonna get them? Then I just let that go.
Yes.
I don't care. As long as I get it. I don't even care. As long as I get it.
I like that. Like, you don't have to try to figure it out. That takes us off the hook. Like, we don't have to.
Why stress yourself?
Exactly. Just, as we always say, vibrate higher. Just keep raising your vibration. Think about how you want to feel in this world. Do you want to feel like, oh, I got to sacrifice and I got to struggle and I got to give up? Or do you want to feel expansive and like the world is your oyster? And so however you want to feel, start feeling that right now. The more you can feel that, the more the universe is going to reflect to you exactly what it is that you're putting out into the universe. So thank you guys for this conversation. Thank you guys for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Until then, this is Arvette.
This is Steve.
This is Rodney.
Bye, guys.